Alright, hello YouTube, welcome back to the Grease YouTube channel. Today's video will be continuing on our 25 days of Winds of Winter, and in today's, we're going to be talking about Jaime. So the last one we did was about Brienne, talking about her storyline, and Jaime and Brienne's storylines, for the most part, are pretty connected at the beginning, but they will go in their own separate ways. Now, before we get into this video, I did want to take the time to say we're getting closer to 2,000 subscribers. I will be doing a Q&A live stream, answering any questions you guys have. So if you guys have any questions on Brienne, Song of Ice and Fire as a whole, me personally, or it can be anything really, put those in the comments and I'll answer those on stream. But yeah, so before we get into the actual video, if you guys like to like, subscribe, and comment, please do it. Up channel grow to reach other people that might like this content as well. And let's get into it. So Jaime, to me, is going to be a character that he's going to start by basically being imprisoned by Lady Stoneheart. Brienne has already gotten a hold of Jaime, and presumably they are going back to Stoneheart. Now, maybe Brienne goes and tries to warn Jaime of what is to come, but I think this is going to result in Jaime meeting Stoneheart. And what follows here is I think Jaime is going to be used as a piece to get some of Lady Stoneheart's forces into the castle, or into this Frey wedding we have been told about. And one way or another, I think there's going to be a Revenge Red wedding, and Jaime will be a pivotal part of starting that process. I talked about yesterday how I think what is going to be happening here is that Arya, depending on the timing, how quickly this all happens, I think Arya will end up killing her mother, giving her mother's mercy, and that will be the end of Stoneheart. So I think Jaime will escape this. I don't think he will die under Lady Stoneheart's care or anything like that. I think Jaime has much more to offer to the story, and I think he needs to have at least one more interaction with Cersei before the end of it, and I think that will be where his story will end up. Now, we gotta kind of talk about some of the other plot lines and where I think they'll be at by the point Jaime is done with all the Riverlands and Lady Stoneheart plot. So I think at this point, young Griff will be marching towards King's Landing. I think at this point in the book, where let's say we're maybe halfway into the book, I think Aegon or young Griff will have kind of accumulated all of his forces and will be looking to take King's Landing. It's in a very vulnerable and weak state. Varys is causing issues in King's Landing. It seems like the Sand Snakes will be causing issues in King's Landing. So I think at this point, young Griff will start to march on King's Landing. So where we see Jaime pop back into the story is I think Jaime is going to hear this. He's going to get some report that young Griff, or this Targaryen pretender, is marching on King's Landing. I think he is going to try and march or ride all the way back to King's Landing, and we'll see one last meeting between him and Cersei. Maybe he gets there when the riot starts, or maybe he gets there when the siege, or I think it's going to be more of a sack happens. Maybe he gets there right before. But either way, I think he and Cersei need to have one last scene together. And I have predicted that Cersei is actually going to go out to young Griff and not to Daenerys in the books. And I think it makes a lot of sense when you look at the parallels of the sack of King's Landing back when the Mad King was the king. So I think for me, Jaime meets up with Cersei, and I think Cersei at this point is going to almost have lost her mind at this point, and she's already kind of started to do that in the main story already. And I think what we're going to see here is we see a repeat of the Mad Queen arc, where I think Cersei, who will find these extra caches of wildfire, will start trying to light them, or she will tell someone like Qyburn to do that. And this is going to come from multiple things. I think Tom and Myrcella will both be dead by this point. I think the Sand Snakes will be involved in their deaths. And I think what we'll see here is Cersei is driven to the edge, where she really has nothing left to live for. And when Jaime arrives and sees this, it's almost like Jaime is having deja vu, where he knows what he has to do. And this would also go into our prophecy with the Valonqar, where Jaime is the younger twin of Cersei. Cersei is the eldest. So it would fit the prophecy that one of her brothers, her younger brother, would be the one to kill her. So I think Jaime very similarly kills Cersei. Now, the thing here is I also think Jaime will die as well in this situation. I think there's been so much hinted at that Cersei and Jaime will leave this world together, that I could really see the idea of they both die here. Now, maybe it's something like Jaime, when very similarly to how we saw with the season 8 version where Jaime gets stabbed by Euron. We're probably not that stupidly, but maybe the riot or the sack of King's Landing is already happening, and Jaime gets in a fight with someone, and he gets wounded, but he eventually does make it to Cersei. And at that point, after he kills Cersei, he kind of just dies. Or maybe he is finished off by the Mountain after Jaime kills Cersei. Maybe the Mountain, fulfilling kind of the rest of his oath to, I guess, Cersei, would finish him off. I could see that. I think that'd be a good way for Jaime's character to end, where he has saved King's Landing once again. He has fulfilled and checked off all of our check marks of the Valonqar prophecy. I am someone that believes it will be Jaime. I think it's a little maybe too obvious that it's Tyrion, and I don't think Tyrion's timeline will add up to killing Cersei, unless Cersei beats young Griff. But if that's the case, why introduce young Griff into the plot at all? It would be. I feel like it'd be really anticlimactic if he was to lose the battle for King's Landing. So that to me is the way Jaime goes out. I think Jaime has to die one way or another. I don't see his plot going much further after Cersei's demise. And I could be completely wrong. Maybe he doesn't even go back to King's Landing. Maybe they just don't do that, or George doesn't do that plot at all. But I think it would be a little bit disheartening if we never saw Cersei and Jaime together again in the conclusion of their relationship. And I think a lot of people could maybe argue, well, the relationship is already concluded when Jaime was like, he's not going to King's Landing to help Cersei. But I do think we are probably going to see them together again. I think it's something like Stannis and Davos, where I would really prefer if we got to see one last scene with Davos and Stannis. But let me know what you guys think about Jaime. Where do you think he's going to go? Do you think he's going to live longer than what I thought? Do you think maybe he doesn't go back to Cersei, or do you guys think he will? Let me know what you guys think down in the comments, and I will see you guys all in the next video. Bye, guys.